Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. I'm back here and today I'm just really zooming in on the Thermomix so those of you who have one can follow along. Those of you who don't, today I'm using the most sought after kitchen appliance on the face of the planet, I should say. And not only one, even the Bible says that two are better than one, and that's the same with your Thermomix. So today I'm going to use two Thermomixes, probably 25-30 minutes, I'm estimating, if I don't talk too long. A few ingredients that I've got an abundance of at the moment. I love when you can buy local produce and bulk and know that you can use those things up. I love to use things seasonally, and then that means that you're really cooking on a budget, and it's a great way to save, right? You know, when stone fruit's on, it's great to buy it up and make up your jams and your preserves and your conserves, and then let that last you for a couple of months. So today I am going to make an apple tea cake. I made these earlier in the week and a lot of people expressed their interest. So just using green apples because that's what I've got right now. And I'm going to do a lemon tart using some lovely local lemons as well. So that's what I've got planned for you. You can of course do this with a food processor and a blender and whatever else you have, but for me I'll just be going between my two Thermomixes, and this is one way to save time is just cooking up, spending a couple of hours a week in meal prep and doing a few snacks and things. So to begin with, we're going to go here to Thermi number 1, and I'm just going to bring up my week. I've actually got this planned, wrong item. Okay, cancel that. Got that in that one. So let's just go to recently cooked, because I know I've done this a couple of times this week. So I'm just going to restart the recipe. This is a great folder for those of you who aren't utilising your recently cooked. It's a great place to just go and access those things that you're doing on a regular basis. So here we have apple tea cakes. Now I've zoomed right in so that you could see as much as the screen possible. So we've got a lineup of great ingredients here. I'm going to substitute a few things just to keep it low carb, as I usually do. If any of you follow me on my Food is Medicine page, you'll see that I often do short clips, but now that we are actually spending more time at home, and for me that means in my happy place in the kitchen, and it's not that I love cooking, but I love my Thermomix because I'm able to do a lot more in a short space of time. So I love the ease, and that I can whip things up quickly, and it also shakes things up because I can make things that I never thought I would make before. And a lot of the time it's hands-free, and I can leave the kitchen and go and do a few other things while the Thermomix is working. So let's start cooking. Okay, I've got the oven preheated, yes, and I have lined two cake tins, which I'll show you that in a minute. And it tells me to peel my apples. Now that's probably been the thing that took the longest. Coring and peeling apples, and look, they're only small, so I probably did double the amount. So I've cut them into quarters and set aside, and now I'm going to place some water. Now look, when you're putting cold water in here, it's going to take at least around 6-7 minutes just to get your water up to the temperature to steam. So what I love to do is boil the jug. I've just had the jug on and made a cuppa, so that's there ready to go. You can see it's hot, and this is going to shave a bit of time off for us in our steaming. Pop the lid on. Okay, place the apples. Now hold it there. It's getting close to lunch. I would like a couple of eggs, so I'm just going to pop in. This is the way the Thermomix cooks in layers. I'm just going to pop in a couple of eggs in there. Just eggs. They're going to get a steam while I'm steaming my apples. So place the apple slices onto a varoma dish. So here are my apple slices. And just going to pop those all in there. Now it did say that I could weigh in around 800 grams, which our Thermomix also has a scale, so I could have done that. I've just popped in my apples on the top. Okay, we're just going to add. Now again, here's another idea for you. If you're going to steam once, you may as well do 2 lots of things. I've just placed the shelf in on top. And I've got some veggies that were left over from last night's dinner that I'm just going to steam up. And they're going to just be added to a salad later, or I could also add them to my dog food, which I often do. Put a few veggies in their meal. And may as well, because it's all in there together, girls. So look, we've got 10 minutes, and it does say that you can, I've loaded that up now, so it isn't just the apples, but there's 2 other components to it. So I'm going to leave it on the 10 minutes and just begin. Speed 1. Now if I just had the apples in there, of course I could reduce that by 5 minutes if I wanted to account for the hot water that's been placed in the jug to start with. Alright, so that's going to continue on the job, and I'm going to come around to the other Thermomix. Alright, so this is where I did a bit of a swap with my Thermomixes, so let's see if it's in recently cooked. No, we can also, you can see what I've recently cooked, and last night I had a demo where we did the corned beef with the mustard sauce. It was a great recipe and it inspired a few people. So let's have a look here. Did I save it on my week? Yes, I did. There you go. So what we can do, if I wanted to search, of course we can look for this, and this is what I did when I went to find it, is put in lemon tart. You can see I've had that already written in there. Lemon tart, fabulous. Now there's 3 options there, and then it goes into my raspberry and lemon flan. I've also made that one. That's awesome. If you haven't tried that out, make sure that you put that on the to-do list this week, because that's crustless, so it's a nice, quick and easy one. If you've got an abundance of lemons and eggs and just need a little bit of butter or coconut oil, that's a great one to do. We've also got our signature lemon meringue pie, which I'm not going to take time to do today. I'm just going to do the lemon tart with a few substitutes. Now, did you know you've also got filters here? Those of you who aren't using the filters, we could just select for side dishes or sweets. We could also select a tag like low carb or no sugar or keto, and this is where you can bring up, you know, a little bit more specific in your search. But then you've also got an opportunity to place our different countries in. So I'm just going to add Canada. I always enjoy cooking from the UK and the USA, so let's just add those in there. And just jump that. Just unchecked it, so bear with me, it's just an angle that you don't usually cook on. Okay, one more, let's give it a go. Alright, there we go. So in placing those few extra countries into my search, I now have 800 results. So let's just show those things. Now this will mean they're not all lemon tarts, but you will find it's going to bring in anything with the word lemon and represent, you know, that kind of sweet treat. So this is where, you know, you can pick up a few different variations. Lemon curd is another great favourite of mine. It's a great low carb. You can use stevia powder, which is what we're going to do today. Lemon and raspberry trifle. How does that look? So this is where it's a lot of fun. It's just using your amazing local produce, and the variety is limited. So let's go back to the recipe that we chose today. Okay, here we go. Lemon tart. Doesn't that look lovely? I'm not going to do it in a long dish today. I've actually learned out a few dishes and I'm still to recover a few. So what I've got is just a round pan that I'm going to make a round one. So let's start with that. Okay, I've got the oven on, and look, it starts off, it puts in some blanched almonds. I don't have blanched almonds. I do have activated almonds, and I could use that quite happily here. But I'm going to, for the sake of quickness, just move past that, and I'm going to substitute that for something else. So let's just have a look here. It's going to ask me to melt my coconut oil. That too is also melted, and then add everything else in here. Now, I like to just have a quick squeeze. You could also bring up the full view of the recipe and take a look. Because sometimes you might be out of an ingredient, just want to know what you're going to do instead. So here we go, we've done the, all right, back to, just keep in mind, we're going to bring back in 30 grams. You can even do that now. I didn't play through this to start with, so just bear in mind, this is real life. Okay, here we go. So instead of 30 grams, I'm just going to use my 30 grams of wholemeal spelt flour instead. It's just something that's quite quick and simple when I don't want to use up all my nuts. There you go. Don't you love the scales? How easy does that make things? Not fussing around looking for measuring cups. Okay. It says to transfer into another bowl. Okay, we can set that aside. Now it wants to melt the 100 grams of coconut oil, but let's just pour that in and move into the next thing. Okay, give or take a few grams. So you can always skip it out if you want to, but I'm happy with that extra little bit. Sometimes with the spelt flour it's a little bit more absorbent, so it doesn't hurt to have an amount. Okay, so we could have melted down that coconut oil, but there's no need, it's done. Alright, so we're going to use some maple syrup, is called for here, but I'm going to use my rice malt syrup, and that's just a nice low carb alternative, which is what I keep when I haven't got maple. Bring it down the shop, so I used up the maple in this last recipe in my apple tea cake a couple of days ago. Now look, some people do find that maple may not be as, rice malt syrup may not be as sweet, but for me I don't mind it a little bit more on the tart side. Add the eggs. So did you see how many eggs that the recipe called for? This is always a great thing, is being able to grab the recipe detail. Alright, 2 eggs in the base, so naturally it's expecting that you have prepped and you've got everything out, so add the eggs. Took me about 10 minutes to just prep for these couple of meals before, and probably 8 of those minutes were peeling and coring of the apples. So I've got some vanilla extract. Okay, we're going to insert our measuring cup into the lid. Okay, it just wants speed 4, 5 seconds. Now to add the coconut flour, I just buy that down at Coles, which is great. It's organic. Red Tractor, they've got a good supply of organic things, items. So I'm just going to put 90 grams in there. Okay, you know coconut flour is quite absorbent, so again, you know, you've got to use extra eggs when you're using coconut flour so that it doesn't dry out the recipe too much. Pinch of salt. Salt brings out the flavour, so that's just a pinch. Okay, and a little half teaspoon of gluten free, and again, great brand that I buy is Bob's Red Milk. Baking powder, it's gluten free. Okay, the almonds we didn't need to do because we've got the spelt in there. Okay, we're going to add lid. Okay, let's just hit that. Okay, let's just, you know what I'm going to do, just because my eggs are in there, and I know they usually take about 12 minutes, so we might just do another 2 minutes of that. Go. Okay, so we're just going to mix this. Speed. Okay, and then we've got my dough. I've just got a little tart pan here, a little bit of baking paper, which is bleach free and no nasties. Good thing to get into the habit of applying. Okay, so we've got a bit of a base starting to form here. So you do a number of different bases, particularly if you want to go gluten free. This one has got the spelt, so it's not entirely gluten free, it's wheat free. But if I had done the blanched almonds, blanched mainly because it's not going to discolour your base. If you did use your activated almonds, I guess you know it's just going to darken the colour of it, which doesn't really matter to most people. Okay, just do this with wet hands. And spread the crust. I'm just going to go in the oven and just bake for about 12 minutes. And some recipes will ask you to bring in a batch of rice to pop on the top to keep it down, but yeah, just generally pricking the base will mean it won't rise up too much. And I hate wasting ingredients unless you keep a batch that you only do that for. I used to have some pie weights as well that I ended up losing, as you do. Must have gone out in the bin one day. Okay, so you could do this kind of thing too and prepare it and stick it in the freezer. So if you wanted to just start, start a recipe, bake up a couple of goods to begin the week, and a bit of prep step. Just going to wet my hand again. Okay, so you make it generally pretty flat, pretty thin on the base. You don't want a really thick tart base. Just make sure that you build up the sides. I'm going to show you this in a minute once it's done. I love using coconut flour. It's one of those things that takes a little bit of practice. But coconuts, so good for you. I love all coconut products. If you follow me, you know I use coconut milk or cream in a lot of things. And coconut oil, great substitute for those who want to be dairy free and get those good fats in your diet. You could do these in little mini ones as well. I've got those little mini spring form with a little fluting. They look great. Of course, they're a little bit more fiddly. Play around with half a dozen of those instead of one large tart. Okay, so there we have it, on tart base. Just going to prick it, pop it into the oven. Just make sure you don't put too big holes in there because you don't want the filling running through. And pricked and ready to go. Always put your timer on. Nothing worse, is there? That's why I love cooking with the Thermomix, because there's no burnt bottom saucepans anymore, but the oven you can't control, so you're going to make sure that you do get that done. Alright, so here's my steamed veggies. So I'm just going to put those aside. They're done perfectly. Okay, here are my steamed apples. Look at that. You could do pears. You can have a bit of a play with this recipe. You could do a mixture. And we've got my eggs ready to go for lunch later on. Okay, while that's just cooling a moment, let me just take you back over here. I'm going to give Thermomix just a quick wash. It's nice to be able to get, just by starting it, just by hitting your home button, just bookmarks it, and then speed 10 for a wash. Great. See that? A few seconds one way and then just hit your reverse button, which just flips, of course, the blades going the other way. Get anything out. This is where another bowl, the blade set, comes in handy. So I had that now, which I'm waiting to get. I could, of course, just throw the other bowl in the sink and come back to it later, but I'll dry that up in a minute. Okay, set aside, and we're going to clean and dry this mixing bowl as well. Okay, so it needs to be good and dry, because what we're going to do is put some sugar in here and cream it now. We're moving on to the cake side of things. So we just clear out that. I want to pop in our caster sugar. So I'll be using some stevia powder. You can use xylitol or erythritol. And yeah, there's a few different brands that you can get even from Coles and Woolies now that is organic. Now, because you only need a half of what you usually use with sugar, I'm just going to put in then 125, so let's just pop that in. And a swish for good measure. Okay, so what it's going to ask me to do now is just mill this up. So great not having to buy icing sugar, but just do everything yourself in the Thermomix. For 10 seconds. All right, following along, 250 grams of butter. So I've got my butter here. Would you like to slow-mo that one? Okay, 250 grams. I love this West Gold butter. It's New Zealand, so I know that it's grass-fed. You can buy your organic butter. You usually pay a little bit more just to have the word organic written on the pack. Okay. It's softened. Now it's going to also do a little bit more of a softening in here. This is what I love about the Thermomix. You're not using a saucepan and a food processor over here and a blender over there, but everything, you can turn it into whatever you need it to be. So let's just soften that down a little bit more for 2 minutes. You see how good it is having 2 Thermomixes. Let's go back to our recipe. I've pressed the dough and I'm baking for 15 minutes. Clean and dry my bowl. Okay, then I'm going to reduce my oven to 140 to bake the filling. So here we go, more butter. Now this could be coconut oil instead if I've got, I want to use it, make it dairy free. I've got a client that wants my my goodies, and I can substitute, of course, what I need to coconut oil. So today I've got the butter out, so I'm going to make it all butter. Look at that. Okay. Buttery finger. Right, we're just going to soften that as well. Right, well I've got a minute. I will just take a minute to bring the pans and show you. So here's my 2 apple tea cake pans. These are available on the Thermomix shop. They're rose gold, good quality, non-Teflon and non-stick. I've been using these for a couple of years now. I've got muffin trays. There's a great collection there. If you want to take a look at the Mix shop, the Thermomix shop. And these consumable little items, which I find quite handy when I'm making a lot of cakes, are really helpful for ease. Here's my second one. So I've got 2 different sizes on the shop that you can get. And I find them nice and simple. Okay, Okay, what did I miss here? Swapping around, keep measuring cup in. Okay, turn speed to selector to 3. It's mixing. So that's just melted and now it's mixing. Sometimes I find it's a lot quicker than what we've already, yep, it's mixed in. Good to just take a check. Sometimes it doesn't ask you to make sure that there's nothing around the sides of the bowl. Okay, whoops, and I'll just go back to that step. Crack 4 eggs in a small bowl and then turn selector, do it again. Okay, we're going to add our eggs through the hole just to combine. Just one at a time. Alright, now we want to add some vanilla. Just a teaspoon. This is actually my favourite one. It's more expensive, but it's worth it. Okay, and then we want flour. So today my choice is wholemeal spelt flour. It doesn't raise quite as well, of course, as your white self-raising flour, but that's where I add a little bit of baking powder. So I buy this bulk, which it ends up working out quite a good price, rather than going to the shop and just buying 250 grams at a time. That's where you end up spending a fair bit. It might be around about, $6 for that. Talking and not paying attention. Right, I'm going to mix this in. So of course just that extra for rise baking powder. I usually put about a teaspoon of that in. And then we do a quick mix. 20 seconds. That's what they look like when you buy the packets, and they're not that expensive. I think they work out probably about 30 cents each. Okay, so now we're just going to divide the batter. There you have, nice little batter between the two pans. So this is not a bad template. You could put a bit of chocolate in this if you wanted to make it more into just a plain chocolate tea cake. You could put this in the one pan if you want to. This is divided across the two, because once you see the apples going on top, you can see how it ends up making a nice size cake. That's doing two today, one for me and one for a client of mine. So just spread that around the base, nice and evenly. This will be perfect timing. My base will come out from my lemon tart of the oven, and then we'll just we'll allow that to cool and pop these in their place. This is called companion baking. Okay, now where's the apples? So I've got these, which you won't see now. Done my best to try and bring you in nice and close to the Thermomixes. Now we've got our apples. So it's just generally doing a nice sprinkle spread to make it look a little creative here. I always love to do a bit of extra. Of course, I can keep them for my muesli, or I can have them throw a bit of fruit through the salads that I make. And of course we could blend it up and just make an apple sauce, which is a great sweetener alternative. Instead of honey or sugar, apple sauce is a great alternative, but okay. Won't be many left over today because I made pretty much the right quantity. A few extras. There's my oven cooling. So there you go, apples just on top. And it says then we can top it with some the apples going on, with some slithered almonds. Now I'm out of slithered almonds, so what I'm going to pop in is my granola, my crunchy raw granola, which I love, and I teach at my low carb workshops. And it's just a mixture of buckwheat, pepitas, chia seeds, some shredded coconut, which I love the way it toasts up in the oven on top of this cake. Yum! Just love my granola. It's a great snack, not just a great breakfast, but it's just done with coconut cream and a mixture of nuts and seeds. Okay, so there we go. Now I could do a little swish of just a bit of sugar. It says caster sugar on top, and bake for 20 minutes. So I'm just going to pop those both in the oven, and I'll bring out the other one. Here's my other one. Okay, so there's the base, which we're going to make filling for now. Okay, clean bowl. What did we do? Yes, we did. We cleaned the bowl. We melted the butter, didn't we? Let's have a look. Just got to double check sometimes. You don't do a step twice. Okay, the unsalted butter. Okay, we went in there. We melted it. That's right, that's where we're at. Transfer into a bowl and set aside. Okay, guys, I don't always find this step necessary. If it's already warm and it's going to mean that your stevia is going to dissolve anyway in the mixture, which is going to go in and bake. So I find that that will cook up. It's going to work fine. All right, 4 eggs. Just got a leg shortage here. So let me just grab out the eggs. love getting local eggs as well. That's another thing that I buy. Here on the coast we have Idlewild Farm, which is not far from us, and I get my 4 dozen eggs fortnightly, and sometimes I gift some because I won't use them all, and other times I will freeze some up. So there's our 4 eggs. A little bit of caster sugar, so again, going to use my stevia, and again it's only half of what's needed, so let's just put in 75 grams. Just going to combine that on speed 4 for 1 minute. Gives you a chance to have a bit of a tidy up. Okay, now we want to add lemon juice. Now this is where you can really tweak this and make it a lime tart, and depending on what you've got, which I'm going to show you. I've just used lemon today, but the recipe will call for a bit of orange as well. So I'm going to do just lemon. Love the tartness of it. Okay, there's your 50 orange. Just going to add a little bit more sweetness back to it, that's all. But stevia will do the trick. Okay, the melted butter, which is already in there. See, sometimes you can just, depending on what it is, the item can stay in. There's no need to actually remove, transfer to another bowl, and then you end up with another bowl to wash up. Okay, it's just going to mix it on speed 4. Pretty much in finishing up here, we're going to cook this up so it's like your lime curd, and what I usually add to it, which isn't on the recipe, is just a little bit of zest. So I've just peeled a little snail off my lemon. I'm going to add that in, and given that if it's one large piece, it's just easier to remove at the end to add a little bit more flavour to the recipe. You might find certain recipes do call for a bit of extra zest. So set aside for 10 minutes. Okay, well we're going to just add that in. Let's just pop that in. Let me just show you the full recipe again. Good deal. Okay, this is where you just get a bit of a glimpse. Oh, got to clean my screen. Just a little, on back, there you go, gets a bit sprayed and splashed on. Alright, so we've added it's very sticky here. Alright, so what we're going to do is, we could, a couple of the different tarts, we cook the curd in the Thermomix, and after 10 minutes we pour it into the pan and then you pop it in the fridge or allow it to cool. So that's one way to do it. This one's actually saying that we can pop it in to the case now and bake it. But seeing how I've already got the oven set at 160 and it's cooking something, I could do both places. This one would want it to cook for less, so it's saying 140, which just may mean it will brown that too much. So why don't we just continue this recipe on a manual, so where I can just go bookmark it. I've got my lemon ingredients in there with the lemon rind. Let's just cook it up in Thermomix. Now, because it doesn't need, it's usually about 8 minutes, 8 or 10 minutes, we'll do 10. We want to really make sure that it's nice and thick, and it doesn't need top temperature, so of course we'll probably be best to sit to around 80 or 90 degrees, and then we'll get going about speed 3. So this will thicken, this will mix and cook it together, and then I'll be able to pour it straight into the pan, cool down, and then into the fridge to set. So that's it for today. We've taken a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but hey, that's good. It gives you a chance to take notes, and I'm sure you've written a recipe out for yourself if you needed to, if you wanted to write that down to cook. So have fun, enjoy that seasonal produce, and join my Food is Medicine page if you haven't before. And if you're interested to learn more about the Thermomix, just send me a message, because I'm happy to give you a run through of, right now we have our 36 months interest free, so it works out only $16 a week to buy one of these amazing appliances, and that's where some people are actually jumping in and purchasing their second, because, you know, at a time, my little catchphrase at the moment is when eating out has become the new eating in, and I know personally I would prefer to know what's going in my food and the hands that have prepared it that are clean. So just yeah, encourage you to get back in the kitchen, get yourself set up with what you need. I mean, it's just a small investment when you think of the lifetime it will go on giving back to you and help you make savings on a daily basis. So I've got my 10-year-old over the other corner. I'm just going to pop something in there now because I've got something else to steam, and keep on keeping on. So see you guys. Some more videos coming your way.